we were in a random conversation, right? I think it was just we were doing a catch-up call, checking in. How's things? What are you doing? Type thing. And you mentioned that you had started playing baseball again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, now, Luke, I'm not going to reveal your age to the audience, but I did. When you told me that, I immediately thought, oh, he meant softball, right? Because
How
I
dare you?
right? you know, because I have people around me where I live, that I go to church with, that I see in the neighborhood or whatever, who play softball, and they're of a certain age group. But then you said no, baseball. So with that as a segue, there was something in that, and I'll talk a little or ask you about it in a second, but tell me a little bit about that. What's the story behind you picking up baseball again?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I have played a lot of softball, and I'll come to that. I have played softball in my adult life, but I, baseball. Well, look, I've been on your podcast twice now, and we've talked about baseball both times. So it's been a big thing, and it's been a big point in my life. I mean, I played baseball from the time I was a little kid. My dad and my grandfather and my family, they were all, they were all big baseball fans. I grew up in New England. So I'm in my mid 40s, we'll say. My first trip to Fenway Park was to see Carl Yastrzemski play in his final season. It was really important for my dad and my grandfather to bring me and my sister there to see Yaz one last time in 1983, and I still
Wow.
remember that. I still remember that game. And I mean, and I played baseball. I lived in a town where baseball wasn't big. I actually lived in a town where soccer was really big.
Okay.
And it was so I played baseball growing up, but not in a pretty kind of like a pretty ragtag kind of youth league that I always played in growing up. And then I managed to play at a pretty good high school program and against a lot of, we had a bunch of players that I played high school baseball with go on to really big time colleges, play at, we had a guy who was a freshman when I was in high school, a freshman on my senior year team, and went to Arizona State. We had guys that, we had a bunch of Division I players, even a couple of guys that played pro for a couple of years. So I played through high school at a good program. And then I never, like my last high school game of my life, I never played baseball. I never put a uniform on again. I never played baseball again. I played some slow pitch softball, for a number of years, in my 20s and 30s, and made a lot of great friends doing that, actually. Friends that are still friends today and become friends with my family, and that was fun. I mean, that was it was always great to be on a team and have some competition. Slow pitch softball has a much lower barrier to entry. We talked about things being difficult before. It's not
Mhm.
difficult to hit a softball that's thrown from, that's if you've done it at all, it's not really that difficult. Slow pitch softball is actually a little more dangerous in some ways because the field is smaller, and you throw the ball softly, and these big giant guys just smash the hell out of it, and like you can get it's not that safe to be playing infield slow pitch softball.
Right.
But anyway, so I played some of that, and then last winter I just kind of heard through the grapevine that a coach that I coached Little League with was putting together a 40 and over men's baseball team. And one night he hadn't asked me to play, but I sent him a text and I said, what's it take to get a chance to throw an inning? I think I said just a chance to throw an inning. I really hedged my bets. That was the
Right.
definite, like the male, I don't want to fail in front of everyone. Like I just want a chance to get out, maybe throw a little bit for your team. And he said, well, it doesn't take much. I don't know. I'm trying to, there's not really any requirement. So I said, we're going to start working out in the winter, and I'll get back to you in the spring when we're putting it all together. So we come together with, a bunch of guys from in my town who we all know each other we all have sons that are or not all of us, but I mean, the core of the team is guys whose sons are like anywhere from 10 to 16 years old right now. And we
Right.
know each other a little bit from coaching baseball. But one of the things, I come back to this feeling, to this thing about the male, the Ted Lasso thing about EQ for males, and I'm going to connect. I'm going to reach back and connect to another podcast that my wife had sent me a clip of recently. It's a Mel Robbins podcast, and she had her husband on. Um, and her husband does retreats for men, I guess, because he hit a point of entrepreneurial failure, like you described, and he started looking into kind of, he really took that hard, and he talked about 5 things that he sees in guys who are really struggling in their 40s and 50s, and a couple of them include, guys not having enough friendships, not having enough true friendships in life.